Now that you've met someone and you're working on developing a relationship, how do you know if he's the one? Knowing someone is the one may come about in a number of different ways. Just ask anyone you know how they knew their partner was the one, and you'll get a variety of responses. Some might say it was love at first sight, or I heard bells ringing when he kissed me. Others might say, well, I just knew, or even our love grew over time. So let's talk about each of these. So people say that they fell in love at first sight, but we don't really know exactly what that means. Maybe it means that they immediately liked and were attracted to their partner's physical appearance. Or maybe it goes beyond that. Maybe they had an immediate and deep connection when their eyes met. I experienced a variation of the second one when I met my husband for the first time. We were introduced at a murder mystery party that was held at the home of one of my coworkers. Of the 8 people that were there, we were the only 2 single people invited. As my friend walked me over and introduced me to him, his back was to me. And when I went around and our eyes met, the thought, he's the one, crossed my mind immediately. And as it turned out, he was the one. Another commonly described instance of knowing that somebody is the one is that magical first kiss. Some people report hearing chimes or bells the first time that they kissed their mate. I experienced bell ringing when I was a teen, and it was the strangest thing. I definitely heard bells when the boy that I was dating first kissed me. In spite of hearing bells, though, he turned out not to be the one. So go figure. Other people say that they just knew. They say, I really can't explain it. I just knew. And I think this may relate to trusting your instincts or having a gut feeling about something. There are people who claim that they have a strong sense of things or situations and know when something feels right or when something doesn't feel right. So again, this also is called intuition. So even though it's difficult to explain or describe, I believe it's something that exists as a means of guiding us in the right direction and toward the right people or decisions. Finally, others say that their love evolved over a period of time, that it just grew, that they had maybe a friendship first and then realized that their partner was the one. At some point in a relationship, hopefully sooner rather than later, you'll know if the man that you're dating is the one for you. If he's not the one for you, don't wait too long before leaving the relationship. The longer you wait, the more difficult it will be to break up with him. It may be that though you like him a lot, you don't have a lot in common, or you don't feel that you're in love with him. And thinking that you're going to grow to love someone later is a mistake. So if you do not know for certain that you love him, you should probably continue your search. It's not fair to him to continue the relationship because he deserves someone that truly loves him. Now let's talk about sex. Good sexual chemistry is a critical factor in any romantic relationship and can be impacted by other issues that may come up in the relationship. You should figure out up front if what you're feeling for the person that you are now dating is love or lust. Having sexual chemistry does not equate to being in love. Love consists not just of that physical attraction and the interaction between people, but so much more, especially from an emotional perspective. If sexual chemistry is all you have in common with your new partner, there's a high likelihood that your relationship is not going to stand the test of time. Although sex is an important aspect to your relationship, you must have a good relationship outside of it. Can you relate to your partner in a non-sexual manner? In other words, if you remove the sex, can you still relate to your partner on an emotional and intellectual level? Making love is like dancing the tango. It is highly intimate and entails the use of intricate movements where each partner gives and takes. Like the tango, sex may be fun to engage in with the partner who knows his way around the dance floor, but is exponentially more meaningful when you dance it with someone you truly love. The reason is that lovemaking immediately increases the level of intimacy in a relationship, and it puts you in a vulnerable position because you're giving yourself to someone completely, both physically and emotionally. And this requires a very high level of trust. Having sex with someone that you don't love may feel good in the moment, but it will ultimately leave you feeling empty. So don't use sex as a means of feeling wanted or to boost your self-esteem. It's better to be sure that you love someone than to give yourself completely to someone who doesn't deserve you. When you choose to have a sexual relationship with your partner, and whether it's before or after marriage, is a private and a personal choice. Although the concept that you should not engage in sex before marriage is outdated, the concept of abstinence until marriage has seen a resurgence in the last decade. A person's personal feelings on this can stem from what he or she was taught in the home while growing up, or may be based on religious teachings and beliefs. But again, ultimately, the decision is yours to make, and one that you will have to live with. I once had a discussion on this topic. I don't know how it came up. I was in college and I was talking to a male student who was a friend of mine. And he was talking about the importance of having sex before you commit to someone. And he compared it to driving a car without test driving it if you didn't. So anyway, I thought I was amused by his comparison. Don't know necessarily that I agreed with it, but anyway, I thought it was funny. And I understood the point he was trying to make in regards to determining whether there's sexual chemistry before you choose to marry or commit to someone long term. Let's talk about the M word. When it comes to marriage, couples today don't necessarily view marriage in the same way that their parents did at their age. It's not necessarily considered the next logical or ultimate step in the relationship. It's not uncommon for couples in long-term relationships to have children before they even consider marrying. Others view marriage as the final step in publicly declaring their legal and spiritual commitment to one another. And since there are some legal benefits that are attached to marital status, some couples may use marriage as a means of getting those benefits. If marriage is the outcome that you want in a relationship, you'll need to find out if this new person you're dating is also looking to be married. It's difficult to bring up a topic of marriage early on without appearing too eager or desperate. But at some point, you'll need to know if you and your partner are on the same page in regards to the topic of marriage. On a related note, traditionally, men have been the ones to propose marriage to women. Although it's still mostly the case, it's not unheard of for a woman to propose to a man. And much like modern-day prom invites or pregnancy reveals, proposals have become quite an event requiring a bit of creativity and planning on the part of the person doing the asking. If and when you decide to move forward with a proposal, I would only advise you, for obvious reasons, to be substantially sure of one thing, and that is that your partner is going to say yes.